Greetings, bloggers, vloggers, and followers. Dustin here from Dustin's Dynasty, coming to you on a Thursday afternoon here from southwestern Pennsylvania. I'm going to share a message today. I think that many of us in the United States are at least aware of some capability of what happened in the nation's capital yesterday. I'm not going to make any political statement here because I don't believe in this is the place for it. What I am going to say is that it can be is about trauma. The trauma that we have experienced yesterday as autistic people is just overly barren. We experienced things that we should have never had our eyes exposed to. And yes, you can say we don't have to watch it, but when it's on every television station in the nation at 4 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon, when you expect news or you media enough is it's condensed enough and it's overflowing and it's just all the time. And yes, I know I couldn't watch it, but it was on everything. It was on social media, every social media platform known. The newspaper today was mostly filled of it. The next day, it was just just anywhere you went, anything you read, any radio station except for weather radio, which I'm starting to enjoy. You know, it had its presence there. And so it was, if you didn't weren't unless you were like an autistic that many are, that are in their own world when when we have to be, because we have to put that mask on and not think that the world is happening. But when something like that happens, when you see something, and I don't want to be too graphic, but when you see people climbing on the Capitol steps and you see people climbing and you see weaponry and things like that, it kind of draws your eyes because this was a historic event. This event did not happen prior to, from yesterday. Before that, it happened in 1812, which the world was completely different then. That was 209 years ago. It was completely different. There wasn't the media. When the media played a play in this, it just oversensitized it, and it made it very traumatic. And I think once you're in, that sinking line, once you're caught in that trap, once you see it and you hear the commentary and you hear, you just freeze. I think a lot of Americans, now I wouldn't say it was compared to 9/11. I experienced 9/11. 9/11 was very much like, this was pretty much a day like 9/11. I feel personally. Not that we were attacked by international terrorists when we were then, but this was a domestic terrorist act that I heard that many tabletop exercises were not even planned for. But I'm not going to get into the nitty gritty of it. But, it's just something we've never seen in America, not in modern times, not even, not even when our World War II veterans were alive. It's just something we've just not been accustomed to. And we've seen the BLM protests last year. We've seen, the I've seen many protests, but I've never seen something as it was traumatizing, yet it was just like you just froze. It was kind of like 9/11. I had seen both planes hit in 9/11. I was in one classroom, and I was a sophomore in high school at the time, and I had seen in the one classroom the plane hit, and I never told us. I guess teachers communicated through email then too, and they turned on the TV in the one classroom. I went to a classroom two doors down. The next classroom was pretty much that, and that was pretty much what it was all day. And the day got dramatic, and the week got dramatic, and 2000, that whole school year at that school was a disaster. Anyway, besides governmental affairs, things within our own school were kind of different that year. But it was just trauma was just abound, and when we seen this yesterday, I think I can relate with many that it was just too much, and it was very taxing, and it was just overburdensome. It brought I think a lot of us want to see what the result would be. We had seen that the mayor had put a six of DC had put a 6 p.m. curfew in that evening, and so I decided, well, I'm gonna wait it out and see what's gonna happen, at 6 o'clock, and I did, and I did that, and I just couldn't take it anymore. I mean, I know it's a choice to watch those affairs and to stick into those affairs, but a thing about media, and I like media as much as anybody else, and I think you can have a positive or a negative spin, biased or unbiased, fair and balanced, unfair and balanced, unbalanced, whatever. But it's grappling how it just gives an awe of how they like to dig, how journalism specifically likes to dig and get what they want, and they dig and they ask questions, and it makes it even more. It gives this sense of grasping awe that you just want to get more and more and more information, and that's just what this world is in 2021. It's just a world of sensory overload, and um, it's just seeing those events occur, and that, like I said, they've never occurred since the War of 1812, which was 209 years ago. So that's telling us a lot of story. It's telling that nobody in this modern age, or there's no photographs, or nothing of the like, of where this occurred. um we just never thought of this, and I think every autistic person, and neurotypical too, but just everybody's just in awe, and like, this happened. But I just want to say that it drained me. It just physically took, it sucked the emotion right out of my body. It was like I had already did a 7 hour day at the day program, and then I come home to that, and it just sucked the what energy I had left for the day, um, out of me. And it was about 6:30, I think, when I finally decided to put the TV to rest, because I knew it was too much, and it was just too. You were just really grasped into it, and you really just, you couldn't think about anything else, and you couldn't think about the people that you've elected to represent in Congress and the Senate. Where I've written letters to a senator here in the state of Pennsylvania, and I'm thinking, he was the only one of his staff there, but just thinking, all these, you don't think this ever happens. It's just, that's the point of it, folks. You just, this was something that never happened. It was just like 9/11. In some ways, it was terrorism on a. It was terrorism. I don't care what you say, and that's, we're gonna leave it at that. But you just, but it did suck the trauma, and it's still hard to deal with it, and I have to learn that I have to take a break once in a while. um I had to learn, I had to shut it off, I had to get away from it. So I went and I had, it was Thursday, so I decided, it was while I was prepping for tomorrow. I thought I'd prep tomorrow, take my medicine, go to bed, and I did. I slept most of the night, pretty sound, to 4, and I got up, and I watched a little bit of it, but it wasn't as intense then, because the disbursement had occurred, you know, as far as getting the crowds dispersed and what have you. But it's a nation in shock, and I think there's going to be you know a lot of people that in the autism community that's going to have to take a break from media for a while. Get what you essentially need through your variable sources, not so much news outlets, what have you. Um, You know, you're going to have to go to credible government sources, as much as you don't want to. But I mean, you're going to have to dig for the information straight from the source yourself for the next few weeks till, till this is settled and we have a peaceful transition of power. Yes, the House voted, certified the election results at almost 4 a.m. this morning. It's about on Thursday. It's about 5:20 now Eastern time. But it's just a shock. I think it's so. But you know what? They were resilient, and I have to give kudos to Congress and Senate. They were very resilient last night. They in the law enforcement, the men and women in blue, I and the military, of course. They got to clear the Capitol, and so that everybody could go back to work. So they could do their job. We can't back down from America, people, and I don't care what country in, as long as you are the great nation of the United States, you can't back down from what you're sent to Washington to do. And it's just how it is. I mean, regardless of what the debate is in the chamber, um, these votes were certified, and nothing we it's just, if it has to be investigated, it has to be investigated. But I'm not going to get into that. This is not a place for that. But I'm going to say that just as a person, as an advocate for people with mental health needs, autism, and so forth, um, I just want to say, just take a break from media for a while. Um, just just take a break. We all just need it. It's traumatizing to watch it. It can be very hard on the mental health of a person, especially when you are diagnosed with a mental health diagnosis or a neurological condition such as autism or any of the spectrum disorders. Um, I don't know. I just think we just need you just got to keep your guard up, and you know when you're if you're not okay, you need to take a break. Sometimes that's taking a break and enjoying the things that you enjoy doing, such as listening to music or working on a blog or working on a website or whatever. That's things I do. But listening to music or watching a movie. We have great streaming devices now in America and across the world. If we have to get off, and the same for the coronavirus, if that is triggering to an individual, I suggest that you do the same, because it's a much it's getting too sensory overload, and it's just overwhelming and it's overpowering, and all you want to do is think about it, think about it, think about it. But what you can't. So you know as all I can say is take safe. We'll talk about it over the next 2 weeks, but you know um, just be mindful of your media watching and get your news from credible sources. And if you have to find information, it's best that you investigate on your own if you can. Go to your reliable sources. And with that, I want to thank you. Like, follow, subscribe. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. I thank you and see you a lot.